The sun was setting over Pine Ridge Airport, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. The small private airfield was quieter now as most of the day workers had gone home. Only a few lights remained on in the main office building where 12-year-old Raj sat at his mother's desk, his tongue sticking out slightly as he concentrated on his math homework. "Mom, these fractions are killing me," he groaned, looking up at his mother who was sorting through some paperwork. "Just a few more minutes, honey," she replied without looking up. "I need to finish these flight logs, then we can go home and have dinner." Mina had been working as an administrative assistant at the airfield for almost 3 years now. It wasn't easy raising a boy on her own, but she made it work. After her husband passed away in a car accident 4 years ago, she had moved to this small town for a fresh start. The airport job paid decent money, and her boss didn't mind if Raj stayed in the office after school on days when she worked late. Raj returned to his homework, but something felt off. A strange feeling washed over him, like cold water running down his spine. He shivered even though the office was warm. Looking out the window, he noticed a sleek black car pull up near the hangar where the private jets were kept. The car door opened, and out stepped a man Raj recognized from TV and magazines, Ethan Reynolds, the tech genius who had made billions with his green energy innovations. Reynolds was known not just for his wealth but for using it to fund environmental projects around the world. What was he doing at their small airfield? "Mom, look, that's Ethan Reynolds," Raj pointed excitedly. His mother glanced up briefly. "Yes, he keeps his private jet here sometimes. I heard he has a meeting in New York tonight." Raj watched as Reynolds spoke with his assistants. 2 pilots were already doing pre-flight checks on a gleaming white jet with blue stripes. Everything seemed normal, but the weird feeling in Raj's stomach was getting stronger. Then he saw it. A quick flash in his mind like a movie scene playing behind his eyes. Flames, twisted metal, screaming. The jet crashing shortly after takeoff. Without thinking, Raj jumped up from his chair, knocking over his glass of water. His mother called out in surprise as he bolted for the door. "Raj, where are you going?" But he was already running across the tarmac, his heart pounding against his ribs. He knew what he saw wasn't real, not yet. But somehow he knew it would be if that plane took off. A security guard shouted at him to stop, but Raj kept running toward the small group of people near the jet. Reynolds was about to climb the steps into his plane when he heard the commotion and turned around. "Don't fly," Raj shouted, gasping for breath as he dodged another guard. "Your plane was sabotaged. Please don't get on." 2 security guards caught up with him, then grabbing his arms. "Sorry, Mr. Reynolds," one said. "This kid shouldn't be out here." Reynolds held up his hand, stopping them. There was something in the boy's eyes, raw fear and absolute certainty, that made him pause. "What did you say?" Reynolds asked, walking closer to Raj. The boy was trembling now, but his voice was clear. "Someone messed with your plane. If you fly today, you'll crash. I just know it." Reynolds' assistant stepped forward. "Sir, we're already behind schedule. The boy is obviously confused." "Please," Raj begged, tears forming in his eyes. "Just check the plane, please." Maybe it was something in the boy's voice, or perhaps Reynolds had survived in business by trusting his instincts about people. Whatever the reason, he nodded slowly. "Get the mechanics back here," he ordered. "I want every inch of this aircraft inspected before we take off." His assistant looked shocked. "Sir, that will take hours. Your meeting can be rescheduled," Reynolds finished firmly. "Better safe than sorry." The next 3 hours were the longest of Raj's life. His mother had come running after him, horrified to find her son had interrupted a billionaire's travel plans. She apologized profusely, trying to explain that Raj had never done anything like this before. The mechanics worked methodically, checking and rechecking every system of the aircraft. Raj sat on a bench outside the hangar, his mother's arm around his shoulders. She wasn't angry, just confused and worried. What had gotten into her usually quiet, thoughtful son? "Honey, why did you say those things?" she asked gently. "Did you see something suspicious?" Raj shook his head. "I didn't see anything, Mom. I just knew. Like how sometimes you know it's going to rain even when the sky is clear. Except this was stronger." As the sun disappeared completely and the airfield lights came on, a mechanic emerged from underneath the aircraft, his face grim. He spoke quietly to Reynolds, who looked shocked, then angry, then concerned. The mechanic was holding something in his gloved hand, a small device attached to what looked like cut wires. Reynolds walked over to where Raj and his mother were sitting. Up close, he looked tired. The lines around his eyes, deeper than they appeared on TV. "You were right," he said simply, sitting down next to Raj. "They found signs of tampering with the fuel system. If we had taken off—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. "How did you know?" Reynolds asked. "Did you see someone near the plane earlier today?" Raj shook his head. "No, sir. I just felt it. I saw it happening in my head." Reynolds studied the boy's face carefully. Instead of dismissing this explanation, he nodded thoughtfully. "What's your name?" "Raj, sir. Raj Mehra." "Well, Raj Mehra, it seems I owe you my life," Reynolds said, extending his hand. Raj shook it, his small hand disappearing into the man's larger one. By now, police cars had arrived, their lights flashing blue and red across the tarmac. Officers were already cordoning off the area around the jet. Reynolds' security team had moved him to a safer location inside the main building, bringing Raj and his mother along. "We'll need statements from everyone," a detective explained. "Including you, young man." As the night wore on, Raj told his story again and again, to police officers, to airport security, even to men in dark suits who didn't say which agency they worked for. Each time the story remained the same. He just knew. By midnight, when they were finally allowed to go home, Reynolds approached them once more. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "Whoever did this might try again. My security team will drive you home and keep watch overnight. And tomorrow, if it's all right with you." He looked at Raj's mother. "I'd like to come by and talk more about what happened here, about your son's gift." Raj and his mother drove home in Reynolds' personal car, a silent security guard in the front seat. As they pulled up to their small house, Raj noticed another black car already parked across the street. More security. "Mom," he whispered as they walked to their front door. "What's going to happen now?" She squeezed his hand. "I don't know, honey, but you did something amazing today. You saved lives. Whatever happens next, remember that." Raj nodded, but as he looked back at the street where the security cars sat with their engines running, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life had just changed forever. And somehow he knew that tomorrow's visit would only be the beginning. Raj barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the image of the plane falling from the sky. The security guards stationed outside their house made strange shadows through his bedroom curtains. By morning, his eyes were heavy with tiredness, but his mind wouldn't stop racing. "Do I have to go to school today?" he asked his mother over breakfast. Mina looked up from her phone, where she'd been reading news reports about the incident. Somehow the story had already leaked. The local news website had a headline, "Millionaire's jet sabotaged at Pine Ridge Airport." Thankfully, they hadn't mentioned Raj's name yet. "I think it's better if you stay home today," she said, putting down her phone. "The principal already called. Reporters are gathered outside the school." Raj pushed his cereal around in the bowl. "Are they at my school because of me?" Before Mina could answer, there was a knock on the door. One of the security guards poked his head in. "Ma'am, there are news vans showing up outside," he said. "Mr. Reynolds thought this might happen. He's arranged for you to stay at a hotel if you want privacy." Mina sighed. "Thank you. Let me pack some things." An hour later, they were checking into a small hotel on the outskirts of town. It wasn't fancy, but it was quiet. The security guard, who introduced himself as Dave, got them settled in a room at the back of the building, away from the street. "Mr. Reynolds will be here at 2 o'clock, Dave told them. "He wanted to give you time to rest first." When Dave left, Raj turned on the TV. Every news channel seemed to be talking about the incident. One reporter stood outside the airport, explaining how someone had tampered with the fuel line of a private jet belonging to tech billionaire Ethan Reynolds. "Sources say the sabotage was discovered after an unexpected security alert," the reporter said. Police are investigating who might have wanted to harm Reynolds, who has made enemies in the fossil fuel industry with his renewable energy technologies. Mina switched off the TV. That's enough of that, she said. Why don't you read your book for a while? I need to make some calls to the office. But Raj couldn't focus on reading. His thoughts kept drifting back to that moment when the vision hit him. He'd never experienced anything like it before. Sure, he sometimes had strong feelings about things, like knowing his math teacher would be absent before it was announced, or feeling that he should take a different route home from school. But nothing this strong, nothing this clear. At exactly 2 o'clock, there was a knock on their hotel room door. Dave announced Mr. Reynolds, who entered with just one assistant, a woman carrying a laptop bag. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me, Reynolds said, sitting down in the armchair by the window. He looked different today, less formal in jeans and a simple button-up shirt. I know this has been a crazy 24 hours for you. The police told us they arrested someone, Mina said. Is that true? Reynolds nodded. Early this morning. A man was caught on security footage near my plane around noon yesterday. They tracked him to a motel about 30 miles from here. He hesitated, glancing at Raj. He's refusing to talk, but they found evidence in his room linking him to a rival energy company. Raj's eyes widened. So someone really did try to make your plane crash? Yes, Reynolds said simply. And you saved my life. He leaned forward, his eyes fixed on Raj. What I can't figure out is how you knew. Raj looked down at his hands. I don't know. I just saw it in my head. Have you had experiences like this before? Nothing this big, Raj admitted. Sometimes, I get feelings about small things, like I know who's calling before the phone rings or I know when my friend is about to get sick at school. Reynolds exchanged a look with his assistant, who nodded and made a note on her tablet. Raj, Reynolds said gently, I believe you have a special gift. Some people call it intuition or a sixth sense. Scientists have different names for it. But whatever you call it, it's real. Mina put her arm around Raj's shoulders. What does this mean for my son? Will he be okay? That's actually why I wanted to talk to you, Reynolds said. For the past 5 years, I've been funding research into intuitive abilities through my foundation. There's a small research center in the city, about an hour from here, where scientists study people with extraordinary perceptive abilities like Raj. He pulled out a brochure from his pocket and handed it to Mina. It's called the Reynolds Institute for Cognitive Research. We work with children and adults who show unusual talents, from mathematical geniuses to people who can tell when others are lying. Mina flipped through the brochure, which showed pictures of a modern building with large windows and green surroundings. What exactly are you suggesting? I'm offering Raj a place in our gifted student program, Reynolds explained. He would continue his regular education but also receive special training to understand and develop his intuitive abilities. All expenses paid, of course, including college when the time comes. Raj's heart beat faster. Like a school for special people? Reynolds smiled. Something like that. You would meet other kids who have unusual talents like yours. Kids who would understand what it's like to be different. Mina looked concerned. I don't want my son to be a lab rat. Absolutely not, Reynolds assured her. This is an educational program, not an experiment. Raj would be a student, not a subject, and you would be involved every step of the way. He handed Mina his business card. Take some time to think about it. Visit the institute, talk to other parents. There's no rush to decide. Why are you doing this? Mina asked, her voice suspicious. You don't even know us. Reynolds was quiet for a moment. 20 years ago, I had a younger brother who had dreams that came true. Nobody believed him. When he dreamed about a fire in our apartment building, our parents ignored him. His voice grew softer. 3 people died in that fire. My brother never recovered from the guilt, even though it wasn't his fault. He looked directly at Raj. I promised myself that if I ever met someone with a gift like his, I would make sure they got the help my brother never did. The room fell, silent. Raj thought about all the times he'd had strange feelings he couldn't explain, all the times he'd kept quiet because he was afraid people would think he was weird. "Can I think about it?" he asked finally. Reynolds nodded. "Of course. And whatever you decide, my security team will stay with you until we're sure there's no danger. The people who wanted me gone might not be happy about their plan failing." As Reynolds stood to leave, his phone buzzed. He checked it and frowned. "I need to head back to the airport. The FBI wants to talk to me about the investigation." He paused at the door. "One more thing, there will be press coverage about what happened. I've asked my team to keep your names out of it, but these things have a way of leaking. If reporters start bothering you, call this number." He handed Mina another card. "My PR team will handle everything." After Reynolds left, Raj went to the window and watched the black car pull away. His life had changed completely in just one day. Yesterday, he was just a normal kid doing math homework. Today, he was hiding from reporters, protected by security guards, and being offered a spot at a special school for gifted kids. "Mom," he said, turning to Mina, who was still looking at the brochure, "do you think I should do it? Go to this institute?" Mina set down the brochure and hugged him tight. "I don't know, honey. But whatever we decide, we'll decide together. And I'm so proud of you, no matter what happens next." Raj hugged her back, wondering what tomorrow would bring. One thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. 3 days later, Raj and his mother stood outside the Reynolds Institute for Cognitive Research. The building was nothing like Raj had imagined. Instead of a cold, scientific laboratory, it looked more like a modern school, with large windows and a garden surrounding it. The glass front reflected the morning sun, making the whole building shine. "It's bigger than I thought," Raj whispered, clutching his mother's hand. Mina nodded, checking the address on her phone again. After much discussion, they had decided to at least visit the institute before making any decisions. Mr. Reynolds had arranged everything, sending a car to pick them up from the hotel where they were still staying. The media frenzy had died down a bit, but reporters still occasionally showed up at their house. "Are you ready?" Mina asked, squeezing Raj's hand. He nodded, and they walked up the stone path to the entrance. The glass doors slid open automatically, and they stepped into a bright lobby with plants in every corner. A woman with kind eyes and gray hair twisted into a bun greeted them. "You must be Raj and Mina. I'm Dr. Chen, the head researcher here. Mr. Reynolds told me to expect you." She bent down slightly to Raj's level. "He's told me all about what you did. That was very brave." Raj shrugged, suddenly shy. "I just did what felt right. And that's exactly why you're here," Dr. Chen said, straightening up. "Would you like a tour?" As they walked through the institute, Raj's eyes grew wider with each new room. There was a music room where a boy about his age was playing piano with his eyes closed while sensors on his head recorded something. In another room, twins were drawing the same picture without seeing each other's work. When Dr. Chen showed them the completed drawings, they were nearly identical. "We study all kinds of special abilities here," she explained as they walked. "Some people can sense emotions very accurately. Others, like you, Raj, seem to have precognitive abilities, sensing things before they happen." Raj perked up at this. "There are other kids who can see the future?" Dr. Chen smiled. "We don't call it seeing the future exactly. But yes, there are others who experience strong intuitive flashes about events that haven't happened yet. Our job is to help understand how these abilities work and how to use them responsibly." They passed a classroom where teenagers were meditating quietly. "Many of our students find that stress makes their abilities harder to control," Dr. Chen explained. "We teach techniques to stay calm and focused." The last stop on their tour was Dr. Chen's office, a cozy room with bookshelves covering one wall and a view of the garden from the other. Mr. Reynolds was waiting for them there, looking through some papers. He stood up when they entered. "What do you think of the place?" he asked, gesturing for them to sit on a comfortable couch. "It's amazing," Raj admitted. "I've never seen anything like it." Mina was more cautious. "It seems very nice, but I still have concerns. What exactly would Raj be doing here? How often would he come?" Would it affect his normal schooling? All good questions, Reynolds said. Dr. Chen, would you mind explaining the program? Dr. Chen sat down across from them. Our gifted student program is designed to work alongside regular education. Raj would continue attending his current school but come here 3 afternoons a week for specialized training. During school breaks, if you're comfortable with it, we offer intensive workshops. She pulled out a folder and handed it to Mina. These are sample schedules and activities. Some of our work is research-based, yes, but everything is designed to benefit the students first. They learn to understand their abilities, control them, and use them positively. Mina flipped through the papers, reading carefully. And the scholarship part? If Raj joins our program, he'll receive a full educational scholarship through college, Reynolds confirmed, no matter what university he chooses to attend. And if his family needs to relocate to be closer to the institute, we'll help with housing arrangements as well. It sounded too good to be true. Raj looked at his mother, trying to read her expression. She had been worried about paying for college ever since his father died. This would solve so many problems. Can I speak with other parents? Mina asked. And other children in the program? Of course, Dr. Chen said. We're having a family day this weekend. You're welcome to attend and meet everyone. Reynolds stood up. And now, if you don't mind, I'd like to show Raj something special. He turned to Raj. There's someone I think you should meet. Reynolds led them down a hallway to a quiet room with comfortable chairs and a small table. Sitting in one of the chairs was a man in his 40s, with the same blue eyes as Reynolds, though his hair was darker. Raj, Mina, this is my brother, Tom. Tom stood up and shook their hands. Ethan told me about what happened, about how you warned him. His voice was soft but clear. I wanted to meet you. Raj stared at Tom. Mr. Reynolds said you have dreams that come true. Tom nodded. I do. Ever since I was about your age. When Ethan started this institute 10 years ago, I was his first research subject. He smiled at his brother, though he likes to call me his inspiration. Do they still happen? The dreams? Raj asked, curious. Yes, but now I know what to do with them. Tom tapped his temple. I've learned to recognize the difference between regular dreams and predictive ones. I keep a special journal by my bed, and I know who to call when I see something important. Raj thought about this. Does it ever stop? The knowing things? It doesn't stop, Tom said honestly. But it gets easier to live with, especially when you have people who understand. They talked for another hour. Tom answered all of Raj's questions about what it was like growing up with his ability, about the times people didn't believe him and the times they did, about how he finally accepted that his brain just worked differently than most people's. The time they were ready to leave, the sun was setting. Reynolds walked them back to the car that would take them to their hotel. Take your time deciding, he said. This is a big change, but remember, Raj's gift is part of who he is. It won't go away just because you ignore it. In the car, Raj was quiet, looking out the window at the trees passing by. So many thoughts were swirling in his head. The other kids at the institute hadn't seemed like freaks or laboratory experiments. They looked happy, normal even. What are you thinking, honey? Mina asked, noticing his silence. I'm thinking about what Tom said, about how his ability doesn't go away. Raj turned to look at his mother. Last night I had another feeling, about Uncle Patel. Mina frowned. Uncle Patel was her cousin who lived in another state. What kind of feeling? That he's going to call us tomorrow with big news. Raj bit his lip. I think he's getting married again. Mina stared at her son. Uncle Patel hadn't dated anyone since his divorce 3 years ago. Are you sure? Raj nodded. I can see her. She has red hair and a little dog. He met her at his job. The car pulled up to their hotel, and they got out. As they walked to their room, Mina put her arm around Raj's shoulders. Let's see if Uncle Patel calls tomorrow, she said. And then, maybe we'll visit the institute again this weekend for the family day. Raj smiled for the first time that day. It wasn't a yes to joining the program, but it was a start. And for now, that was enough. The next morning, Raj woke up to the sound of his mother talking on the phone. He rubbed his eyes and checked the time, 9:30 a.m. They had slept late after their long day at the institute. "Yes, that's wonderful news," he heard his mother say. "We're very happy for you both." Raj sat up straight. He knew who was on the phone before his mother even said the name. "Of course, Uncle Patel. We'd love to meet her. What's her dog's name again?" When Meena hung up, she turned to find Raj standing in the doorway of their hotel room's small sitting area. The look on her face told him everything. "Uncle Patel is getting married," Raj said. It wasn't a question. Meena nodded slowly. "To a woman named Anya. She has red hair and a small dog called Pepper." She sat down on the couch. They met at his office 3 months ago. He was going to tell everyone next week, but he was too excited to wait, just like Raj had seen. They ordered breakfast from room service and ate mostly in silence. Finally, Meena put down her fork. "I think we should go to the family day at the institute this weekend," she said. "I want to talk to other parents, see how their children are doing with the program." Raj nodded, relief washing over him. He had been afraid his mother would decide to ignore his abilities, try to make them go away. But after Uncle Patel's call, that wasn't possible anymore. The family day at the Reynolds Institute was busy and colorful. Tables had been set up in the garden, with food and games for everyone. About 20 families milled around, talking and laughing. Some of the children were showing off their talents. A girl was bending spoons by barely touching them, while 2 boys were playing chess without looking at the board. Dr. Chen introduced Meena to a group of parents, and soon they were deep in conversation. Raj wandered over to where some kids his age were playing a card game. "You're the new kid, right? The one who saved Reynolds?" A boy with glasses asked, making room for Raj to join them. "Yeah," Raj admitted, suddenly self-conscious. "I'm Raj." "I'm Devi," a girl with long braids said. "This is Kai and Leo. We're all in the intuitive group." She dealt Raj some cards. "What's your specialty?" "My what?" "Your specialty," Leo explained. "I can sometimes tell when people are lying. Devi finds lost things. Kai has dreams about stuff before it happens." "Oh." Raj thought about it. "I guess I just know things sometimes. Like I can see them happening before they do." Kai nodded. "Like my dreams. Except you're awake when it happens." They played cards for a while and Raj found himself relaxing. These kids were normal. They joked and argued just like his friends at school. They just had something extra, something special. Like him. Later, Reynolds found Raj sitting alone by a small pond, watching fish swim in circles. "Having fun?" Reynolds asked, sitting down beside him. "Yeah," Raj said, "everyone's really nice." "But," Raj sighed, "but I'm still scared. What if I get another big feeling like with your plane? What if next time I can't stop something bad from happening?" Reynolds was quiet for a moment. "That's a heavy burden for someone your age," he finally said. "My brother struggled with the same fears. That's why we teach techniques here, to help you understand when to act on your intuitions and when they might just be ordinary worry." He picked up a small stone and skipped it across the pond. "The truth is, Raj, you can't save everyone. No one can. But you have a gift that might help some people, at the right time. Learning to use it wisely is what matters." They talked until the sun began to set and the families started to leave. Raj felt lighter somehow, like he'd put down a heavy backpack he didn't know he'd been carrying. When they got back to the hotel, Meena told Raj she'd decided to accept Reynolds' offer. "The other parents say the program has helped their children," she explained. "And they have special counselors to help with the emotional side of things. That's important to me." Raj hugged his mother tightly. "Thank you," he whispered. The next 2 weeks flew by in a blur. They moved out of the hotel and into a small apartment closer to the institute, provided by Reynolds Foundation. Their house was rented out temporarily, and Raj transferred to a new school where no one knew about his plane incident, as they had started calling it. 3 afternoons a week, Raj went to the institute. He learned meditation techniques to calm his mind. He practiced focusing his intuition on specific questions, and he kept a special journal of any feelings or visions that came to him unexpectedly. Most of these were small things: predicting when the doorbell would ring, knowing which way a bird would fly, feeling that a friend would call with a specific question. Nothing as dramatic as the plane warning happened again, until one Tuesday afternoon, a month after they'd moved. Raj was in math class when the feeling hit him, stronger than anything since the day at the airport. His best friend from the institute, Devi, was in danger. She wasn't at school that day because she had a doctor's appointment, but Raj suddenly knew with absolute certainty that something was wrong. His hand shot up. "I need to go to the nurse's office," he told his teacher, already gathering his things. "It's an emergency." In the hallway, he called Dr. Chen on the special phone Reynolds had given him for emergencies. "It's Devi," he said as soon as she answered. "Something's wrong. I can see her car, her mom's car, stopped on a bridge. There's smoke coming from under the hood, but they don't know it yet." Dr. Chen didn't question him. "Which bridge?" "Raj, can you see any details?" Raj closed his eyes, trying to focus the way they'd practiced. "The big red one over the river. The one near the shopping mall." He concentrated harder. "I can see a billboard for sunglasses, and the clock on the dashboard says 2:17. It was currently 2:05. "I'll call them right away," Dr. Chen promised, "and I'll send someone to pick you up from school." The next 20 minutes were the longest of Raj's life. He sat in the nurse's office, pretending to have a headache while checking the time every 30 seconds. At 2:31, his phone buzzed with a text from Dr. Chen. "They're safe. Car stopped before the bridge. Fire department on scene. Engine was overheating and about to catch." "Fire," Devi says, "thank you." Raj leaned back against the wall, tears of relief filling his eyes. He had done it again. He had helped someone. And this time, he had known what to do with his vision. That evening, Reynolds came to their apartment. He brought Devi and her mother, who hugged Raj so tightly he could barely breathe. The mechanic said the car could have caught fire any minute. Devi's mother told Meena, "We were about to drive onto the bridge when Dr. Chen called." Reynolds smiled at Raj. "How does it feel?" he asked quietly while the others talked. "Good," Raj said, and he meant it. "Scary, but good." "That's how it should feel," Reynolds said, placing a hand on Raj's shoulder. "That's how you know you're using your gift the right way." As Raj went to bed that night, he thought about how much had changed in just a few weeks. He still didn't understand why he had this ability or where it came from. But for the first time, he wasn't afraid of it anymore. Instead, he felt something new. Responsibility, yes, but also possibility. The feeling that maybe, just maybe, he could make a difference in the world. 6 months had passed since the day Raj shouted a warning across the airport tarmac. Winter had turned to spring, and cherry blossoms bloomed in the garden of the Reynolds Institute. Raj sat under a tree, his special journal open on his lap as he wrote down the morning's intuition exercise results. 3 out of 5, Devi said, dropping down beside him. "Not bad," Raj grinned. "Better than yesterday. Dr. Chen says my accuracy is improving." The exercise was simple but challenging, trying to predict which of 5 colored cards Dr. Chen would randomly select each morning. When Raj first started, he'd been lucky to get one right. Now he regularly scored 3 or 4. "Are you ready for the anniversary party tonight?" Devi asked, pulling out her own journal. Raj nodded. Tonight marked exactly 6 months since he'd saved Reynolds' life. The institute was hosting a small celebration, just the students, their families, and a few special guests. No reporters, no cameras. Reynolds had been strict about that. "Mom's been cooking all morning," Raj said. "She's making her special samosas." Their lives had settled into a new kind of normal. Raj attended his regular school in the mornings and the institute 3 afternoons a week. Meena had taken a job at the institute's administrative office, which paid better than the airport and gave her flexible hours. They had moved back to their own house once the media frenzy died down completely. The best part was that Raj had made true friends. other kids who understood what it was like to have abilities that set them apart. Devi had become his closest friend, along with Kai and Leo. They called themselves the Intuitive Four as a joke, but the name had stuck. After finishing their journaling, Raj and Devi went inside for their afternoon class. Today, Tom Reynolds was teaching them about recognizing the difference between real intuitive signals and regular anxiety. The difference is in how the feeling moves through your body, Tom explained, drawing on the whiteboard. Anxiety tends to spiral and grow bigger. True intuitive flashes often come suddenly and stay consistent. Raj knew exactly what Tom meant. His warning about the plane had been sudden and clear, a flash of certainty. His everyday worries about tests or making friends felt completely different. After class, Reynolds himself stopped by. He didn't visit the institute every day anymore. He was busy with his companies and foundation work, but he made time at least once a week to check on the students. "Ready for tonight?" he asked Raj as they walked toward the main hall. "Yeah," Raj said. "Mom wanted me to ask if we should dress up." Reynolds laughed. "Casual is fine. This is a celebration, not a formal event." As they turned the corner, Raj suddenly stopped walking. That feeling, the strong one, washed over him. But it wasn't danger this time. It was something else. "What is it?" Reynolds asked, immediately alert to the change in Raj's demeanor. Raj closed his eyes, focusing on the sensation. "Someone's here, someone important." He opened his eyes and looked at Reynolds. "For you." Reynolds looked puzzled. Before he could respond, Dr. Chen appeared at the end of the hallway, accompanied by a woman Raj had never seen before. She was tall, with dark hair streaked with gray, and she carried herself with quiet confidence. When she saw Reynolds, she stopped walking. "Ethan," she said softly. Reynolds went completely still. "Nora?" Dr. Chen looked between them. "I'm sorry for the surprise, Ethan. Dr. Patel arrived for the researcher exchange program, and I thought you'd want to know right away." Reynolds seemed to have forgotten that Raj and Dr. Chen were there. He took a step toward the woman. "It's been, 15 years?" 17, she corrected with a small smile. "I've been following your work from afar. When I heard about this exchange opportunity, I had to apply." Raj tugged gently on Dr. Chen's sleeve, and they quietly backed away, leaving Reynolds and the mysterious Nora to their reunion. "Who is she?" Raj whispered once they were out of earshot. Dr. Chen's eyes twinkled. "Dr. Nora Patel is a brilliant neuroscientist. She and Mr. Reynolds were research partners many years ago, before he started his first company." She paused. "And if I'm not mistaken, they were much more than just colleagues." Raj grinned. His intuition had been right. That evening, the main hall of the institute was transformed with twinkling lights and colorful decorations. Tables lined the walls filled with food brought by the students' families. Mina's samosas were gone within minutes. Reynolds made a brief speech thanking everyone for their hard work, with special mention of Raj and his mother. He had Dr. Nora by his side, introducing her as a new visiting researcher who would be studying intuitive abilities from a neuroscience perspective. After the formal part of the evening ended, the celebration became more relaxed. The adults chatted in small groups while the kids played games they had created to test each other's abilities. Raj found himself sitting with Tom Reynolds in a quiet corner. "So," Tom said, 6 months in, "how do you feel about your gift now?" Raj thought about the question. "It's still scary sometimes," he admitted, "but it's also kind of amazing, like having a superpower." Tom nodded. "That's a good way to look at it. Do you remember what I told you when we first met, about how it doesn't go away?" "Yeah," Raj said, "but now I don't want it to go away. I just want to understand it better." "That's the right attitude," Tom said, clapping Raj on the shoulder. "And speaking of understanding things," he nodded toward where Reynolds and Dr. Nora were deep in conversation, their heads bent close together. "Looks like your intuition about their connection was spot on." Raj smiled. "I knew she was important to him. I could feel it." Later, as the party was winding down, Reynolds gathered the Intuitive Four together. I have a proposal for you all, he said. We're starting a new program this summer, a special project for our most promising students. You'll work as a team to develop your abilities together. Devi bounced on her toes with excitement. Like what kind of project? We're calling it the Foresight Initiative, Dr. Chen explained, joining them. Using your collective intuitive abilities to help with humanitarian efforts. Finding missing persons, predicting natural disasters before they happen, that sort of thing. Raj's heart beat faster. You mean actually using our abilities to help people, like officially? Reynolds nodded. With proper training and supervision, of course. You'd start with simulations and controlled tests, but eventually, yes. The goal is to do real good in the world. The four friends looked at each other, eyes wide with possibility. We're in, they said almost in unison. As Raj and his mother drove home that night, the car was quiet. Raj looked out the window at the stars, thinking about everything that had changed since that day at the airport. Penny for your thoughts? Meena asked, glancing over at him. I was just thinking, Raj said, slowly, about how one moment can change everything. If I hadn't shouted that warning. But you did, Meena reminded him. You followed your instinct. You were brave. Raj nodded. The Foresight Initiative sounds important. Do you think we can really help people? Meena reached over and squeezed his hand. I think you already have, honey, and this is just the beginning. As they pulled into their driveway, Raj felt another intuitive flash. Not a warning this time, but a warm certainty. Whatever came next, he wasn't alone anymore. He had his mother, his friends, and a whole community who understood him. He had found his place in the world, and it was better than anything he could have imagined. The boy who had once been afraid of his own abilities now looked to the future with hope. There would be challenges ahead, but also amazing possibilities. And for the first time in his life, Raj was ready for whatever tomorrow might bring.